Greetings, everybody. I'm doing another video tonight, and I wanted to address the situation as to why Christians who take some gander at the end times, at what's going on and what the Bible says, and decide that they want to be tribulation saints. Now, first of all, I give people like that credit, that they have some understanding that first, that Jesus is coming again. They believe Bible prophecy. That's always a good thing. They love the Lord, and they're willing to just take a stand for him. These are all qualities we should all have. But when they become tribulation saint wannabes, they do themselves a disservice, and they do others around them a disservice, because our Lord promised to come and take us to his Father's house. Paul said we would meet the Lord in the air. Paul also said our blessed hope is his appearing. Not the Antichrist's appearing. Jesus is appearing. There's some misunderstanding there. And the trouble is, most post-tribbers that I know, they're kind of almost as dismissive as a lot of other people are about all the signs around us. But that's human nature, and that's in all camps. But, first of all, let me show you what I'm wearing. And yes, I wore this to my church group last Wednesday night. Someone there was not too happy with me, but I'm not very concerned about people thinking me, especially liberals. But, yeah. I wore this coming out of the locker room at Brazilian Jiu Jitsu class this morning. That's a martial art. I'm fairly new at it. I'm still a white belt. But the instructor, who's a tough guy, looked at it and said, "Yeah, I love it." So good thing most of these tough guys liked it. Otherwise, sometimes you got to be careful who you're going to offend. But anyway, I want to look at several reasons why I think people become tribulation saint wannabes. And reason number one as to why people are tribulation saint wannabes, I say first and foremost is a lack of understanding on their part. Like I said, there's certain things they do understand. They've usually read the book of Revelation and Matthew 24 and some other parts. They've usually gone through the whole Bible. And they believe the word just as much as I do. But doesn't mean that they looked at everything closely. Doesn't mean they've studied every topic closely. When my parents were in a cult back in the 1970s when I was a child, they read through the Bible several times during those years, and they missed the whole concept of salvation by grace through faith until they really started reading it on their own. The Reformers believed that the Pope was the Antichrist. And the problem, I think the reason for that is they didn't look at Bible prophecy closely. They were focusing on salvation by grace through faith. This happens when you're focused on certain things. And it happens to all of us. I've done it too. So, lack of understanding is number one. And I will say the pre-tribulation argument is not flawless. It doesn't answer every single question, but it does interpret just about most of the scriptures referring to the end time in the best way. Okay? Number two is the cult of personality. This is human nature. Now, I've been an evangelical Christian for 40 years, and I was very involved with 4 different churches over that 40 years, and Well, there are a couple others that I went to around the time I became a Christian. I wasn't really involved with them. I was going for a little bit. But one thing that every church has had with their pastor is a cult of personality. And I don't mean that the church was being bad and, the church had some serious flaw. The only flaw here is that it was filled with humans. And humans tend to be drawn to their leaders, to their teachers. And I've known pastors who behaved like rock stars. And the problem is they behaved like rock stars because they were treated like rock stars. People need to remember they're human. They make mistakes. And it's everybody's responsibility to understand the scriptures for themselves. The Bereans did that in Acts 17. They did not take Paul's word for it. You go read it yourself. The Bereans. Think Bereans, Acts 17. They searched the scriptures daily to make sure what Paul was saying was true. And they got a very nice write-up in the Bible for doing so. And I've had people tell me, I can't disagree with the pastor. Okay, so that's number 2. Cult of personality. We want to be loved by our pastors, especially when you have them such high regards for them. And for some reason, people have it in their heads that if you disagree with them, well, then they're not going to like me. If they don't like you because you see things a little differently from them, they have the problem, not you. I grew up in a cult. I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, number 3. The error, they fall into a pretty serious error by insisting that this would show their love for Jesus. There's that actually is very noble. And it's wonderful that you're willing to die for Jesus. I seem to recall one of the disciples saying that at the Last Supper, I will die for you, Lord. And what did Jesus say? Or before the cock crows, you will have denied me 3 times. And Peter did. All the apostles except one ran when Jesus was arrested. The churches all caved. The government said close. They did. I was horrified. I don't think current Christians have what it takes to withstand the Antichrist. I think the Tribulation saints will, but that'll be a totally different scenario. And different people too. Okay, so, and the thing is about saying, well, my love for Jesus, I want to go through this for him. If you love Jesus, you do what he instructs you to do. He says, take up your cross, carry it. It may mean giving your life. It has meant giving. A lot of Christians have suffered martyrdom over the last 2,000 years, and we should all be willing to do that. But this particular situation is made clear that we will not be here for it. This is not something he expects of us. There may be times some Christians do have to willingly give their lives. But this isn't going to be one of them. So we need to follow his leading. Follow his rules. God makes the rules, you don't. Okay? Please. You may think something may show love for Jesus, but if it contradicts the scriptures, if it contradicts his word, then maybe it's not about love. Just my thought. Don't get mad at me. Okay, number 4. These tribulation saint wannabes have a very, very false understanding of how horrific the tribulation is going to be. They don't seem to get it. They think they can prep for it. They think they can stock up on canned goods. Some of these bozos with their YouTube videos that, okay, I've watched some of them, they're telling you, the world's coming to an end. Buy Bitcoin. Buy our flashlights. Buy our solid food. Buy this, buy that. Well, they're selling stuff. As I said, this doesn't even take into consideration the natural catastrophes that are going to happen all across planet Earth during this time period. I'll be very brief, if you were to prep for the tribulation, you would need an underground shelter, 7 years worth of food, utilities, running water, electricity, light, food. Where are you going to put 7 years worth of food? And there's, not to mention ammunition. And that doesn't even take into account natural disasters. There will be floods, not just famines, but floods, earthquakes, meteorites, meteors, fire is going to consume the earth, heat, excessive cold, the sun's going to be doing weird things. Everything you stockpile, even if you could do that, you'd have to be independently wealthy to do that. Even if you could stockpile one natural disaster and it could all be gone like that. And not to mention people's states of minds. The state of minds that people are going to be in during that time period. They're going to be nuts. They're going to be desperate. And if they know Joe Schmo down the road has a stockpile of 6 months worth of food, he's going to have a huge target on his house. Folks, it's going to make the zombie movies look mild. Not that I've watched a lot of zombie movies. I don't like gross, gory movies. Okay, so that's number 5. The horrors of the tribulation. Go over it again. Lack of understanding, too quick to believe the pastor or the teacher, the error of showing their love for Jesus, false understanding of how horrific the tribulation is going to be. And that kind of falls into number 5. 4 and 5 could be together. But some of them actually talk about it like it's some sort of episode of Survivor or The Amazing Race. And that the Antichrist, I'm going to pin the tail. I'm going to get him. He's not going to get me. I'm going to go right up to him and I'm going to stick it to him. He's going to be embodied by Satan the devil. He's going to be possessed directly by Satan the devil. All powers of hell will be released on earth during that time period. The tribulation saints are going to be sitting ducks. They're going to be sitting ducks. Some of them will survive. My personal opinion is those who do survive to the end probably will do so with some direct intervention from God. Because he's going to need some people. He's going to protect about a third of the nation of Israel. And I'm sure there'll be a good number of saved Gentiles who will be alive at the time when Jesus physically returns to earth. And then the 6th reason, and I'm going to make this the final reason. They don't understand who the tribulation is really for. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos that there are false teachers. There's a false teaching going around. I won't call them false teachers. Nobody has 100% truth. But there's this false teaching called the church's finest hour. And I've done a video. I've mentioned it in previous videos. I did a whole video on it. You can go to my page and look for it. It's not directed at the church. Jeremiah 30 talks about a future period that will be like none other, and it's called the time of Jacob's trouble. It's in Jeremiah chapter 30. And I believe there are two main reasons that the 7-year period is going to happen. First of all, God will be dealing with the issue of sin once and for all and reclaiming the earth. Remember, Jesus said with his temptation in the desert, or I shouldn't say, Jesus was told when he was tempted in the desert by Satan that the kingdoms of the world had been handed over to him. There are those who believe that when Adam and Eve sinned in the garden, they were handing over the earth to Satan. I see no reason to disagree with that. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure, but it makes sense. It makes sense. But it is to deal with sin, execute judgment, to reclaim the earth, and to get the nation of Israel's attention. Isaiah 9:6 says that, Isaiah 9:6 and 7 says that Jesus, when he was born, that he was also meant to reign on David's throne. He has not done that yet. He did not do that at his first coming. And if you're saying, I've heard some pastors say, well, he's reigning on David's throne in heaven. For that to be true, you'd have to put David at the right hand of the Father. Makes no sense. Here we go again with allegorizing. Well, it's symbolic. There's no reason to say that's symbolic, except you just don't like what it says. Whenever someone says they just don't like something, or I don't see how this could be, the cult leaders that I grew up in used to say that, well, I don't see how. This makes no sense to me. It's like, excuse me, are you God? Are you God? He gave us his word. So, in conclusion, I want to thank you if you've watched this whole video, I want to thank you very much. If you're still a Tribulation Saint wannabe, I would really, really encourage you, while we still have time, to read the scriptures, so that when the rapture happens, you're not taken up kicking and screaming. You don't want to go kicking and screaming. You want to go rejoicing. I want to go rejoicing. I'm looking forward to seeing my Lord and Savior, and I think it's going to be very, very soon. I think it's going to be extremely soon. But then again, I can't see into tomorrow. God knows his timing is absolutely perfect. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching. If you have any comments you want to leave, please feel free. Please hit like. Please subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And God bless.